Vinny from New Jersey. I recently watched SummerSlam 1990. I haven't seen it since I was a kid and was eagerly looking forward to the Intercontinental title match between the Texas Tornado and Mr. Perfect, and found myself thoroughly disappointed with Von Erich's performance. Since then, I have been able to watch several of his other matches and usually find myself extremely bored. I know he had a lot of personal demons that eventually got the better of him, but I was wondering if you could comment on Kerry Von Erich, specifically your thoughts on his in-ring ability. Also, when he first came in, he was pushed to the moon right out of the gate, given the Intercontinental title within his first month, and it looked like they had big plans for him before he dropped the title back to Perfect and then became basically a glorified jobber. What was the reason for this big push so soon, and what caused them to lose faith in him so quickly? Here's my take, and this may not be a popular opinion with old-school world-class fans, but I think Kerry Von Erich is overrated as a performer. Okay? Just one fan's opinion. He was good when he wasn't drugged up out of his gourd, which was often, and before he lost the foot. But I've never watched a Kerry Von Erich match unless he was in there with a Ric Flair or a Terry Gordy, who were awesome workers. I've never watched a Kerry Von Erich match and thought he was anything really special. You know, the Von Erich family were like gods down there in Texas. He was pushed to the moon because of his last name and because his father ran the territory and because the Von Erich brothers were heartthrobs to all the girls. You know, he was a star. The guy was a total star, no question about it. And he looked the part, but as a wrestler, I was never impressed. I never saw what the big deal was. Now, as far as why WWF lost faith in him so quickly, I would think his demons, drug problems, played a big role in that. He also had a rep for being very unreliable, which is why, and Flair talks about this in his book, they put the NWA title on him, and he dropped it less than 3 weeks later, I think back to Flair. He beat Flair as a tribute to his dead brother, and then they got that sucker off him as quickly as possible. So I would think whatever was going on in his personal life had something to do with it, but also, let's not discount this. Brutus Beefcake was originally scheduled to wrestle Perfect for the Intercontinental title on that SummerSlam show. Then he had the parasailing accident, his face got all mangled. Okay, that was legit. I mean, he was really messed up. And I don't think he wrestled the match again until like 93. And this happened in 90. They even turned it into an angle going into WrestleMania that year in 93 with Money Inc. They re-injured his face, he had to wear that goofy-looking mask. But, hey, he got a high-profile WrestleMania match out of it, Beefcake did. It pays to have friends in high places, brother. Anyway, Beefcake, he had already beaten Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania 6 that year. It's something, it annoys me to this day. Perfect had an undefeated streak going, and it ended, of all people, to Brutus the Barber Beefcake in some random mid-card match at WrestleMania. Now, in fairness, Beefcake was very over back then. The gimmick was very over, but still pisses me off. So I'm almost positive that the plan was for Perfect to drop the title to Beefcake at SummerSlam, which ironically would make that twice that Beefcake was supposed to win the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. He was scheduled to win it from the Honky Tonk Man back in '88, but got taken out of the match, and they went with Warrior instead. So what I surmise may have happened, and this is just me piecing things together now, this isn't fact, but they were going to change the title anyway. And then Beefcake got hurt, and to pacify the audience and give them a title change, they went with Kerry instead, who had just debuted. Maybe they figured it would be a great way to debut him on pay-per-view and get him going right out of the gate, but I doubt they had any long-term plans to keep the belt on the guy. That's my guess as to what happened. They wanted a big title change on that show, but Kerry was never the guy they had in mind for it. And they got the belt off him 3 months later, and that's what they did. They took it off him at a Superstars taping and put the belt back on Perfect, and Kerry never did anything meaningful ever again in WWF. In fact, I can't remember one big feud he had with anybody after that. Not one. They did nothing with him.